In our previous video we identified the IP address that our Raspberry Pi is connected to the internet on. In this video we're going to go ahead and try to connect to that Raspberry Pi using SSH. To do that, however, we're going to need to get some tools first, specifically a program called PuTTY. There are plenty of downloads for PuTTY, and you can download any one. Specifically, we're after the full version, not PuTTY or any of the other variants. PuTTY.exe. We can open this program up straight away. It doesn't install anything. And all we're going to do is to type in the host name or the IP address for our Raspberry Pi. If we wanted to, we could save this session or load it for further use later on. But I'm actually connected on a DHCP setup, and so I haven't set up a fixed static IP address for the Raspberry Pi yet. And so there's no point saving the information yet. If we hit enter once we've entered the IP address, we will be presented with this screen and an error message saying that the server's host key isn't in memory yet. And this is just because this is the first time that we're connecting to this Raspberry Pi. So we click yes, and then we can log in as normal. So we can use Pi as our username and our normal password. At this point I'm able to do absolutely everything that I was able to do when connected directly to the Raspberry Pi. So for example, I could find out my IP address. I could directly connect to ifconfig. I could do literally anything that I could do directly from the Raspberry Pi, but this does mean that I don't need to be connected directly to the Raspberry Pi in order to actually access it and manage it. The one downside to PuTTY, however, is the fact that it is only the terminal, the command line, that it's able to access. If we type startx, it won't actually load properly for us, and we will get an error message saying that it couldn't load. And we have to press Ctrl+C to actually cancel out of the server. And so in our next video we're going to be looking at a VNC, which is a virtual network connection, which allows us to actually interact with the server using a graphical interface, such as the startx interface which we looked at earlier. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that.